For another video in our series, Circles of Influence for the K-State. Right, before we get started, would you just go ahead and give us a little background on what your role is in education right now?
I am an instructional coach in USD 443. I am the first grade instructional coach, and when we are out in the buildings, we coach teachers in K-5.
Maria, would you go ahead and tell us the people or influences that guided you into the field of education?
First of all, Socorro Herrera was a key person in the wonderful opportunity of me being able to become a teacher. I didn't know the hidden rules or even how to apply for grants or scholarships to go to college, but Socorro sent Nisa DeCarlo to our high school, and she met with us after school and explained the process of applying for grants and the process of applying for the scholarship. And she basically held our hand throughout the whole process because we knew very little or nothing about entering college and the process to get started and to inform our parents about what was happening. Once we were there, we always had a project coordinator. We were held accountable, which kept us in school. And when I graduated then, I feel like I was very lucky to work for the administrator that I worked for, Terry Merrifield. She probed a lot and had very high expectations for my teaching. And I respect her very much because she was very knowledgeable in instruction and cared about the kids and the families that she served.
When you were talking about your entry into college, was there a certain program that you were involved in? I mean, you kind of talked about it a little bit. Could you explain that a little more?
I was a participant of the Besitos program, Bilingual Education Students Interacting to Obtain Success. And that was a program through the education department at K-State.
And did it just offered scholarships?
We had a scholarship for tuition, books, and we had a monthly stipend to help with our basic needs.
Would you have been able to go to college, you think, without that opportunity?
Absolutely not. And the scholarship had so many supports in place. We had tutoring available. We had a computer lab. Many of us had never even stepped foot on campus before the first day of school. We had tutors, a computer lab, the supports in place, the office staff. Everybody was they were there for us, and they were there to make sure that we succeeded. There was just no way that we weren't going to succeed.
Maria, how did your career progress from your entry into the profession until today? And what were some of the influences that guided this development?
I had so many wonderful opportunities, and I'm so thankful for. I learned a lot from mentor teachers and positive influences around me. I had opportunities to serve on committees, whether it was school improvement committees or building committees, and I learned a lot from my coworkers and my administrator. I also participated in the Leadership Academy through K-State, and interacting with my colleagues was priceless. I feel like my administrator at the time was so supportive and very encouraging, as well as district administration. So through this, through these many opportunities, then I was able to learn, and then I became a coach.
All right, how have you attempted to be a circle of influence for others?
I remember when I was getting ready to go to college, I really didn't even know what questions to ask, and I feel like a lot of people in our community are in that situation. A lot of parents might not know what to do or why their students need their tax information. When we were preparing to go to college, everything was a completely unknown world. We didn't know anything. We didn't know about college applications. We didn't know about the deadlines. We didn't know what happened if you missed a deadline. How to apply for financial aid. So when I was in the classroom, I was able to reach families, and if I knew they had older siblings in high school, I was able to inform them about the process and about financial aid. And moms came to me, and I always offered my home phone number for questions like that. And parents still keep my phone number and my address and come to me with questions.
Can you tell us a little more? I think you have a sibling now that's kind of followed a little bit in your footsteps. Can you talk about, I think that's definitely a circle of influence that maybe you've impacted somebody there.
Yes, I actually have a cousin's daughter and a sister that are going to K-State and are in the education program. They were lucky enough to receive the Besitos scholarship. My sister is going to be the 100th graduate, and I'm so thankful because it means that there are 100 teachers in Kansas that have been blessed with the gift of an education, and they're going to impact. Those are 100 people that are going to impact families in our communities, and they're so needed. My sister received a scholarship, and so did my cousin's daughter. And throughout this time, I've helped other kids. I've written letters of recommendation, and they've also been able to participate in the Besitos program.
Maria, what advice would you offer to those considering education as a profession in finding a circle of influence that can support by serving as a positive role model?
I think teachers need to find teacher role models and attach themselves to positive colleagues who are learners and who see themselves as serving their community, as providing a service to their community.
In what ways, if any, have members of the Kansas State community served to you as a personal circle of influence?
Socorro Herrera gave us the opportunity that changed our lives. She created a program that not only gave us a way to get there, she made sure that we stayed there and that we were successful in what we did. She also made sure that when we came out into the communities that we were going to be members who served our community in the districts that we worked for. She welcomed our parents. She taught us what university life was going to be about. She was also a role model for us as Hispanic women to see ourselves as successful, educated minorities. Dr. Hancock was my mentor through the Developing Scholars program, and her mentoring taught me so much more than our children's literature project. Through our meetings with her, she connected with me on a personal level. I learned that her husband had passed away. She had lost her husband to cancer. And when my mom became ill, we spent lots of time in her office talking about it. And when my mom's cancer became terminal, I was just ready to go home. I was ready to go home to be with my mom and to be with my siblings. And there was a rainy night when I was ready to pack things up and go home to be with my mom. And I decided to call her because she had offered her home phone number, and I knew she was sincere. And that day, I don't know if I was calling her to say, "This is it, thank you for your help," but it ended up being a plea for her to help me stay. And that's exactly what she did. I didn't tell her that I wanted her to help me, but I think deep down that's what I wanted her to do. And she did just that. And she didn't let me fail. She didn't let me go home. And it's because of people like her that kids like me can do what they do. Anita Cortez is such a special part of Kansas State University. Her programs teach the kids about the structure of university life and what that's all about. I participated in the pilots program, and that was an extra support, an additional support to what Socorro's program already did. Anita's program, the pilots program, ensured that we were successful in our classes the first year. Anita's office was always such a welcoming place. It was a place to go in and sit down and have a chat with her. Anita's the type of person that'll never forget your name or your story. I still keep in contact with her. She is an amazing human being, and she also coordinates the Developing Scholars Program. And she has a gift of knowing what students to match with what mentors, not only for the academic and the research part of it, but also for the personal side. She knows what it takes to keep students in school and help them be successful.
Okay, I think that sums up our questions. I appreciate you, Maria, sharing your experience with Kansas State University and your circles of influence.